Hey guys, we're moving on to lesson 8. It's called ordering integers and other rational numbers. We're just going to build on what you already should know about integers, positive and negative integers. A couple of things that I'm going to want you to do today. Think about the numbers that you're working with on a number line. So one thing that I would like you all to do is just recreate or create a number line from -5 to +5. And one of the best ways to think about positive and negative integers is really just to draw it and visualize where they would actually fall on that number line. So it's going to be the best way for us to really see where those numbers fit, especially if we're still having problems understanding the concept of greater negative numbers. If we're just dealing with negatives, how do we know which one's greater and which one's has less value? And a number line is going to be one way that we can show that. So we're going to start our video today with example 1. And example 1 says order the rational numbers from least to greatest. Problem says Sam has $10 in the bank. He owes his friend Hank $2.25. He owes his sister $1.75. Consider the 3 rational numbers related to this story. Write them in order from least to greatest. Well, if you're just reading it, it looks like all of those numbers are positive. Sam has $10. He has positive $10. We know that. So 10 is one integer, positive 10. He's got $10. What about if he owes money? Remember, we've been talking about owing money. If you owe money, you really don't have it. Therefore, it's negative. So if he owes Hank $2.25, our second integer is negative 2.25. He owes his sister $1.75. Again, he owes that money, so he doesn't have it. Therefore, it's also negative $1.75. How could we write these from least to greatest? Well, again, if we're thinking about negative numbers, if we're thinking about how much Sam owes Hank and his sister, he owes more money to Hank. Therefore, he will have less money. It's kind of a backwards concept, but really the bigger the negative number, $2.25, the smaller the actual value is, negative $1.75. So you should have ordered or will order just like this. And again, it's just list the integer or list the number, comma, second number, comma, and then the last number. So it looks just like that. Negative 225, negative $1.75, and positive 10. So that's how we're going to list those, just like that. If we're showing those on a number line, well, I only made mine go to 5. But we get the point. It's a positive number. Where does $1.75 and 225 lie on our number line? Well, think about what you know about those fractions. And those two decimals, 0.25 and 0.75, are very, very common fractions. And we need to be familiar with them. 0.25 is 1/4. So that's like 2 1/4. Negative 2 1/4. And 0.75, another one we need to be familiar with. 75 cents is 3/4. Therefore, the fraction is 3/4, 3/4, just like that. And again, if you're having trouble, just think about money. 25 is 1/4. Well, that fraction right there, right here, says 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 3/4, 3/4, just like that. Okay, so that means on my number line, I need to turn at least the negatives into quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So let's look for negative 1 3/4. So there's negative 1, and I got to go 3/4 back. So right there. And then 2 1/4. Let's find negative 2 and go back 1/4 right there. Again, the further into the negative we go, the less value the number has. So negative 225 is the lowest number. So we can show it on our number line just like that. Okay, again, if you need to rewatch at any point, feel free to pause or rewind, go back and rewatch, hear the explanation again. If you need to create your number line, pause the video and do that first. Don't just listen to me talk and then draw your number line and not hear what I said. So pause it whenever you need to. That's one of the great values of these videos. Exercise 2. This is more of the same. It's just a story problem. So during her most recent visit to the optometrist, Kadisha and her sister, Beth, had their vision tested. Kadisha's vision in her left eye was negative 150, negative 1.50. And the vision in her right eye was the opposite number, positive 1.50. Beth's vision was negative 1.00, and her left eye was positive 0.25 in her right eye. So take those four rational numbers and list them from least to greatest. Again, draw that number line if it helps. So if you don't draw the number line, again, the greatest negative number is the smallest number. So let's look at the greatest negative. There's two negatives. There's 1 and 1.50. The 1.50 is bigger than 1. So negative 1.50 is the least number. It has the lowest value. And then we can just put them in order from there. Well, the next negative number will be the next least. And going into the positives, well, we just got to figure out which one's bigger, 1.5 or 0.25. Hopefully you recognize that it's 0.25 and listed that third, and 1.50 as the greatest number. So your list should look just like that in that order on the bottom, not the top. The top was where I just wrote them down. Okay, the last part is to write an explanation. Explain how you made your determination. Well, if you say something like what I've been talking about for the last few minutes, I know that negative 1.50 is the least number because it's furthest to the left on a number line. It's furthest to the left on a number line. And we could say something like that. Then the next negative number would be the next smallest, and so on and so forth. So figure out how you're going to word that and explain how you knew it was or that was the correct order. How are you going to explain that? So just come up with your own explanation. It doesn't have to be long, but something that's very clear. For exercises 3 and 4, you're going to do the exact same thing. Again, pause the video if you need to so that you can finish out exercises 3 and 4. And I'll talk about 5 and 6 in just a second. All right, exercises 5 and 6 are very, very much the same. We're just dealing with some larger integers and rational numbers. Okay, so exercise 5 says, for each problem, list the rational numbers that relate to each situation in order from greatest to least. So instead of going least to greatest, we're going to list the biggest numbers first and go down to the smallest. All right, so the following are the current monthly bills that Mr. McGraw must pay. All right, so here's another example of owing money. Yeah, you get something for your bill, but you still got to pay it. It still costs you money. So when we pay a bill, $122 to cable and internet, $73.45 to gas and electric, and $45 to cell phones. Yeah, right. We're using negatives. We're using money to pay it. Therefore, it's a negative number. It's coming off. So the integers and rational numbers that we're using are negative 122 negative 73, 45, and negative 45. And we want to list these from greatest to least. Greatest to least. Okay, so we want to list those from greatest to least. They're not in the correct order right now, so don't write that down. But let's think about these numbers. So the greatest negative number is going to be one that's closer to 0. So if we can make a number line, we're going to have to scale this up differently. We can't just go by ones this time. So we have to go from 0 all the way up to 122. So maybe we go by tens and create your line by integers of 10. So I'm going to go 10, 20, 30. I keep writing 10. Negative 40, negative 50, negative 60, negative 70. Oh, geez, I don't have enough room. And create yours all the way down to negative 120, negative 10, negative 20, negative 30. And again, pause the video so you can do this. This is taking me a long time, so I imagine it's going to take you a little bit of time too. Once you get that all finished up, we can kind of plot these points on that number line. All right, so again, yours should look something like that. Start at 0 and go all the way back to negative 120 if you can. Okay, so let's see. Again, our greatest number is going to be the closest number to 0. All right, so let's start with negative 122. Oh, geez, negative 122. It doesn't even fit on my line, so I know it's going to be way, way down towards the end, like right there, way down towards the end, way far away from 0. 73 and 45 hundredths. Well, let's find negative 70, and let's go back about where negative 73 would be. And we can kind of put a dot there. It doesn't, obviously, it's not going to be precise, but we can get a general idea. Negative 122, negative 73, and negative 45, about halfway between 40 and 50. Oops, let me write that a little better. Okay, so look at that. From greatest to least, the greatest number is going to be the closest to 0, negative 45. Then we go on down from there to negative 73.45, and then finally negative 122. So when we list that from greatest to least, it will look just like this. Negative 45, comma, negative 73 and 45 hundredths, comma, negative 122. And yours will look just like that. And again, write that explanation. And we've just been explaining for the last few minutes why negative 45 is the greatest number. So if you need to rewatch and rehear that explanation, do so, and then write that down. And do the same thing for exercise 6. Once you've completed your exercises, go on to your problem set. And you'll be working on your problem set today. That would be all problems. And again, if you have any questions, pause or rewind, go back and rewatch it, or raise your hand and ask for help. Okay, good luck, guys. You'll do great.